I'm with Siyata Mobile. I've been working at the company about 4.5 years, and the company started about 6 years ago and perfected in-vehicle cellular communication. And that expertise has put them in a very fortuitous position to be launching with some of the largest carriers in the world to sell our phones to their enterprise customers. So we have push-to-talk solutions for enterprise customers, both on mobile and in the vehicle, but the core competency of the business really is the in-vehicle solutions. It's very important to understand the trend that's happening in the push-to-talk world. Traditional push-to-talk radio, PTT, is something that's been happening over two-way radio networks for the last 70 years. And push-to-talk devices in the enterprise world are very expensive. You pay a monthly fee, and it only does one thing, two-way conversation. Push-to-talk over cellular takes the capabilities of two-way talk, but it puts them over a cellular network, so the carriers are eating the breakfast, lunch, and dinner of two-way radio operators right now. It really began when 4G networks started becoming available for two-way conversations. You might have heard of the IDEN network or the Mike network, but those were just not robust enough networks to give quality push-to-talk services. I really don't know how to do this. So ultimately what we do when we launch the Unit UV350, which Bell Mobility just launched in December the 6th, is over the last 10 years, trucking and enterprise companies find a new cool software, and they're like, yeah, I want that, so they go get the software and they buy the hardware for it. 5 or 6 years later, you got 6 or 7 devices that you pay monthly data fees for. You've got multiple vendors with multiple invoices, multiple devices that don't speak to each other. It's very distracting for the driver and creates a lot of clutter. Our unit in UV350 is the world's first all-in-one 4G smartphone specifically for the commercial fleet and vehicle market. As I said, we recently launched with Bell Canada. We've publicly disclosed we're launching with a Tier 1 US operator in Q1 and more than likely a second in Q2. And it's a very, very big market potential. Next slide. So what we do versus your bring your own device is we connect directly to the car battery. We have external speakers and microphones for crystal clear call quality. We have external cellular boosters for extended cellular coverage, external GPS pucks for good GPS services. We can work in 100 degrees, we can work in minus 100 degrees. We're a very, very good device for commercial fleets and vehicles. Some people still wonder why you don't bring your own device. Commercial operators want there to be a hardwired device inside the vehicle, because commercial truck drivers will steal the device, they'll lose the device, they'll forget to charge the device, they'll drop the device, or whatever they can do to benefit from that device, and it costs enterprises a lot of money. When we talk about push-to-talk over cellular, we really are a push-to-talk over cellular software agnostic piece of hardware. So we integrate with some of the largest push-to-talk software companies in the world that integrate for the big carriers to sell their services for. One very large market opportunity is the Band 14. And when I talk about push-to-talk, traditional push-to-talk radio with the sun setting on it, the US government gave AT&T $40 billion to go build a cellular network, specifically to allow first responders to get priority on a cellular band in case of emergency situations. If there's an earthquake in LA, everyone tries to use a cell phone at once, not even first responders can use the network. It's often not because a cell tower is down, it's actually because there's 2, 3, 5, 10 million people all trying to use the cellular network at the same time. So in this situation, first responders are going to have to move from traditional two-way systems to cellular-based solutions. So if it's good enough for the US government and if it's good enough for AT&T, it's definitely good for enterprise solutions to move forward. It saves them significant amount of CapEx and a lot of monthly fees, which are a much better solution and carrier-grade customer service. Here's our opportunity. There's still about 10 million commercial vehicles in the United States, with the majority of them still using two-way radio for their dispatch and their communication. So what's happening is you got a construction company with 200 workers. Those 200 workers will have an AT&T SIM card when they walk around the construction site, and they'll do push-to-talk with each other. But when they get inside the vehicle, they have to put the cellular phone down, and they use two-way radio for that conversations with dispatch. Now the cellular carriers aren't getting paid anymore for that two-way conversation, and they want to take that market share from two-way radio, and they're doing it in abundance. Just for example, AT&T, as far as we know, has about 4 million commercial vehicles on their network. If they can convert those two-way radio operators to SIM cards for $50 a month, it moves their needle big time. 100,000 phones to a Tier 1 carrier would be about $100 million in revenue at 45% gross margin. We have exceptional gross margins because we have no direct competition in the market. We got first mover status. We got a very niche product that carriers would more than likely only launch one product. We sell other accessory devices, but once again, I go back to our core business in the Unity UV350. It's a very, very big product launch that we're doing. We've been working with the tier 1 carriers in the United States for well over a year and a half to get through their network carrier approval process. It's a very, very difficult process to get. When they talk about no direct competition, right now we don't see anything in the market. We talk to all the tier 1 carriers and two-way operators on a regular basis, and we don't see anybody stepping in this business anytime soon. And we talk about first mover status. We've had 7 years experience building the best in-vehicle cell phone devices in the world. We know what our customers want. We know the user feel that they need, and we do give the best user experience. This has allowed us to work with the tier 1 operators in North America. And once again, it's a very, very big opportunity, not for us, but it also moves the needle of the tier 1 carriers. If one of these tier 1 carriers puts 1 million new SIM cards in a vehicle, that's $50 million a month to a tier 1 carrier. That's the type of thing that moves their needles. To launch a product with the tier 1 carrier is very difficult. You have to have something that nobody else in the market has. You have to have a niche market, and you have to be able to get through carrier grade approval, and it's very, very difficult. Our R&D is all based out of Israel. We grabbed a bunch of the Motorola guys when that company got bought out and shut down, so we've got a very strong technical and R&D team. We also sell other accessories that include cellular phone boosters. So we sell them for commercial enterprises. We sell them to embassies. And this allows you to get cellular coverage underneath the basements or in areas that you typically don't get cellular coverage. We have in-vehicle boosters as well. So a lot of the people that buy our in-vehicle devices will also buy the accessories, including our cellular phone boosters. We sell antennas, push-to-talk buttons, and they all carry a very high margin. Here's a little bit of our legacy portfolio. As you can see, the top two left here, the one on the left is the one we're launching in North America. The Unity CP250, is something more for the taxi drivers and the small delivery vans. We're seeing a good market in Europe there. Some of our operating targets. We did about 17 million in revenue last year. We'll do somewhere flattish to downish. We'll lose money this year because we've been spending a lot of time in R&D and working with the tier 1 carriers, which is very expensive and timely to get carrier launch. But these are the type of approvals that Apple and Samsung and LG and Sony and HTC, they treasure these relationships because it brings them hundreds of millions of dollars a year in sales. And our shareholders should treasure this time and effort that we've spent working with these carriers and building these relationships as well. They're very, very significant. And I don't need to build a very large sales team to service the tier 1 carriers that will be selling our phones. The sales guys are very motivated. They make great margins on selling these devices. They make commissions on getting the installs on the devices, and they're enterprise customers. So the companies like AT&T and Verizon and Sprint, they get the best multiple for enterprise SIM cards on their balance sheet. This is our revenue growth over the last 5 years. 2018, that's only 3 quarters. And we got a nice kind of lofty projections by a couple analysts on the street here in Toronto. That's their guidance, not ours. With the launch of this new device, our margins are going to significantly increase. All our other 3G and 2G devices that we've launched have anywhere between 25-27% gross margin. The new UV350 is a 45% minimum gross margin, plus the accessories and the warranties that we can sell into. It's going to be a very, very profitable venture for us. Here's the share structure. That top one number is actually about 104 million shares outstanding. We're very liquid. We trade on average 350,000 shares a day on any given day. We got about 8 million in working capital, 4.5 million in convertible debt that expires in 2020. And our chart, if you look at our 6-month chart since we started device approval with the second tier 1 operator, has been very, very nice compared to the rest of the venture exchange right now. About a $47 million enterprise value right now. Management and board, Mark Seelenfreund, who I'm speaking in lieu of, he's out of Tel Aviv. We've got a very strong team. Glenn Kennedy's in the back here. He spent 25 years with the big carriers and the two-way operators. He knows all the guys. Steven Ospelak, a board member, was a senior VP at TELUS for many, many years. Joe Gretsch is on our board of advisors. He was a VP at TELUS for many years as well. And we just added a new gentleman. He's not on here yet, named Raymond Roman. He was a senior vice president of Motorola worldwide for many years, senior vice president of Dell Computers for many, many years, and was also president of Brightstar, the world's largest mobile phone distributor on the planet. Guaranteed you he sold you one of these devices somewhere in this room. He touches 1 out of every 23 phones that are sold around the world. He knows his business probably better than our president. And he jumped on the opportunity once he saw the opportunity that we have with our carriers and our growth opportunity. Thank you very much. I got 8 seconds. Thank you.